welcome to this week's edition of Opinion or Opportunity. I am your host, Don Gringo. And this week we definitely have some things to discuss, don't we? I think the number one topic probably for this week and next week will be Biden's VP pick, Kamala Harris. So we're going to go over that in a little detail and just try to figure out what is going on in the world of politics today. We're also going to have to discuss what's going on in Portland. Yes, Portland is still an issue for people who aren't aware and keeping up with current events. Portland is still happening, and the current state of Portland is the state police are pulling out. And what does that mean? We also, for gaming in this week, we're going to go back over into modern Warzone. Yeah, it's still a hot topic. The pros and the cons. I finally decided to play some of it, and I wanted to give you an update on what I think. And obviously, I'm one of those people who still like to watch YouTube videos myself, and what it's doing for content creators out there for them. And finally, when it comes to the tech world, obviously you guys know in the last episode I told you that all this was made possible to a current custom PC build that I did, and I did some upgrades, so I figured I could keep you informed of what's going on with that. And if you guys have any other opinions on my PC build, would love to hear them. So we're going to get into it. This is going to be your time to clock out. We may offend you, and I'm not looking to do it, so please stop here and go away if you think you're going to be easily offended. And here we go. All right, so let's get into it. This week, we actually had quite a surprise. I thought it would have been Susan Rice, even though she brought the Benghazi baggage with her. I did not suspect, and I think there's a lot of people out there who didn't suspect that Kamala Harris would have been the VP pick for Biden. And let me go over the reason why I think that. And for those of you who do not remember, the primaries when people were running, she dropped out early. She did not have a lot of support anywhere. She was not a motivating figure. People did not rally around her, and then all of a sudden she's a VP pick, and in the process of her running and campaigning through the primary, she actually went after Biden, and I'm not sure if you remember that, but she called him a racist, basically came out and said, you are a racist, and not shortly thereafter, when Biden was accused of being inappropriate with females, she came out and said that she believed his victims. So I don't know if this is a touche for Kamala Harris and a good going girl for you, but or if this is Biden. This is just another one of your hiccups, and this may do you in. I mean, honestly, how can you have a running mate who basically thinks that you're a sexual predator and a racist? I mean, that's basically what it comes down to, and they did it. So this just goes to show you the state of politics right now on the national level, and this is what we have to deal with. I really do think at some point we do as a people need to put these two parties in check, for what they're giving us, and for, they're not really earning our votes. They're not putting anything up. This is like round two of let's pick the best of the worst. In the first round we had Hillary Clinton with her baggage, and the second, and of course Donald Trump, and who just can't seem to keep his mouth shut, even though some of his policies do work and some of them don't. But here in round two of this whole nonsense, let's get Joe Biden, who nobody in the national polling can think he can last his first full term. Never mind, he already said he's not going to go for a second term if he won the president. So I am not sure what the Democrats are doing here, but if you're trying to institute your first woman president, I do not think this is the one you want. This is the woman who turned around here and puts, drug dealers in jail, but she says that she's a proponent of smoking weed. She kept some guy who was actually innocent in prison until she was forced to by the courts to free him because he was actually innocent. There's a lot with Kamala Harris that, I cannot see why people would really respond well to her. If you're a feminist in this instance, at least Hillary Clinton did a lot of stuff on her own and built up a reputation Whether you liked her or hated her, at least she did what she did. She didn't sleep. Well, she didn't sleep her way to the top. Maybe Bill Clinton did. We know that Kamala Harris did. I mean, her and her boyfriend, Mr. Brown, out there in California, giving her all those nice cushy positions, and knowing and being found out she was the mistress. Half his age, and he was giving her all these sweet cushy jobs. So maybe Bill Clinton and Kamala Harris have something in common. Maybe that's where the Democrats got this from. I just don't get it. I think people need to turn around and really take into consideration what's at here. They did a big drive when I was younger to get people to go out and vote because people weren't voting in droves. And I'm sure there's a lot of you can remember it. They did all these big campaigns. If you're a younger person, MTV and a lot of those, VH1 and a lot of these other TV channels were really pressing for it. And if you're an older, we had all the other organizations pulling to get people to get out and vote because people just weren't voting, And I really think at this point, that's what needs to happen again. It's either everyone gets out there and votes their conscience on this one, or realistically, just don't vote. Do a write-in. Do something different. But this two-party system has gotten a little crazy. I mean, honestly, I really thought the Republicans would have had someone to at least go up against Trump, if not to get him out of office, at least to get him ready to campaign and run. I mean, I know the guy's been campaigning this whole past 4 years. He hasn't stopped doing rallies and everything else, but that's a lot different than actually having to go out, debate, and actually go against someone on issues and really win that chance to go back. Yeah, you may be the champion boxer coming back in and defending your title, but in all honesty, I don't think there's a lot of people out there who really wanted to deal with this. So that's just my opinion on this. I really do think that people need to look at this in a different light. I really think we need to go back to the drawing board here. And I'm not saying, obviously calling for riots and going crazy out there to go against the system. But we definitely need to have some major changes here. And then going into rioting, obviously, Portland's still a huge issue. I can't get this. I don't understand this, growing up as a kid, you were taught right from wrong. I think we all were. Martin Luther King did peaceful protests. He made big changes, and he didn't have to be violent. And then you have what's going on today. I do not know where all this is coming from. When you look at Chicago finally had to implement a special police force because crime was just, even though it's Chicago and crime is already out of hand, I mean, they had to implement something after they were calling to defund the police. Here you got New York City, crime's going through the roof, and you have all these news channels not really looking at it. And then you got places like Portland. Forget it. Portland's like its own little mini war zone in downtown. Just because it doesn't affect you doesn't mean you shouldn't watch, because these policies and these opinions are starting to sweep across the country, and this is going to affect you and your family some way, somehow. Don't think it's not. It's already spreading coast to coast. Look what they're doing. I mean, look at Minneapolis. For God's sakes, what is going on? And I hate to say it, but I just think people are just trying to do all the wrong things. Now, I'm not saying anything bad about the George Floyd situation, but we were all led to believe this man didn't resist, didn't do this, didn't do that. And I'm not saying there's no way I am going to let anyone misconstrue this. That man did not need to die. But the whole going thing was this man did nothing, that he was not being resistant, that this man just died in police custody because of all bad cops. And we learned, what? It's not that cut and dry. And a lot of times it's not that cut and dry. But because it's not that cut and dry, and they didn't make this information public in the beginning, look what's happened coast to coast. You can't tell me this is right. And this is your politicians. These are the people you voted for. And I hate to say it, people, but you get what you get what you asked for, what you voted for. And if you want sympathy, it's very hard to get sympathy out of me because you didn't try. Now, for those of you who did and tried to do the right thing and vote these idiots out and standing up against this and standing up and saying, listen, we know there's some bad apples in the police force. We all know it, okay? But we can get around it. We can turn around and do some training. We can do this. We can do that. We have ideas. And no, that's what it's going to take is ideas. But to stop the discussion, to basically loot, and that's all you're doing is stealing from other people because you think you're entitled. And believe me, Black Lives Matter, the people up there in Portland, turn around and said they're entitled to it. This is them rioting. They're entitled to go out and loot and steal. You know, it's going to end up getting worse. It's going to end up going crazy. You know what? And I don't think anyone else is to blame but yourselves. If you really wanted to do something different, you could have stand up for yourself. You could stand up for your community. You could go out and do your own, protests, stand there on the opposite side and force and show people that, you know what? Yes, you are entitled to protest. Yes, you are entitled to your free speech. Yes, you are entitled to make sure that your community changes for the better, that nationally this country changes for the better. But not at somebody else's expense of stealing from them their livelihood, burning down their businesses, burning down their livelihoods, how they support their families. That this is not okay. And you can't make it okay. If you make it okay, I hate to say it, you're a scumbag too. If you think it's okay, you're a piece of shit. You're a scumbag. You can't do this. And if you think that not being put in jail because these, DAs and stuff won't prosecute is a good thing, wait till it's your turn. Just like cancel culture hit the celebrities back and everything else, wait till it's your turn. Wait till these people come to your neighborhoods, gonna break down your door, steal your TV, steal your kids' gaming system, steal from your family, and then go crying. I won't feel bad for you. I don't think there's anyone that would feel bad for you. If you think it's okay now and then it's not, there's like a lot of reporters, you can sit there and you can find it all over YouTube and other things that they wrote all these articles until these people came to their neighborhoods and then all of a sudden they're not peaceful protests, but they were. Right, because they weren't in your neighborhood, but they were. Good job. Good job. You just made everything so much easier for people. And if you're a DA out there not enforcing the law, you should be arrested yourself. Because God forbid the common person outside of these riots, if there weren't these riots going on, one little thing, they're getting arrested. Right? I mean, that's what it comes down to. They're getting arrested. And then you don't get to enforce the law? What, you have discretion that the law doesn't need to be upheld? You should be ousted. The people should be calling for your resignation. You should be putting cuffs just like any other cop out there who does wrong. What makes you invincible? What makes you bulletproof from prosecution or the lack thereof when someone else in your community, which you're supposed to be in charge of to uphold the law and keep order, you're failing? And you're not just failing on a minimal level, you're failing on a felony level. People are getting hurt. We're talking felony amounts of looting and property destruction, and this falls down on your watch. It's time that we come together. The middle needs to come together. Know the people I'm talking about? I'm talking about the common sense people. People out there who are going out their day, living their lives, just trying to provide for their families and turn around and, who are conservative on some issues like myself and liberal on others. We're the middle ground. We're the majority. And here you have the fringes on both sides running this show and running it into the ground. You let them. Don't you get it? You let them. You're the majority and you turn around and you voted these other idiots in. Don't say you didn't. Because you can look at yourselves, you can look in the mirror, you can look at the person next to you, and you know what? You're all going to lie. You're going to be like, I didn't do it. I didn't vote for that guy. You know the hell you did. You thought it was a good idea at the time because you didn't have all the information. Did you try to get the information? No, you had faith, right? You had that faith word again. We had that faith, right? Because I've been voting Democrat the whole time. I've been voting Republican the whole time. I think that's where independents have a little bit of leeway, and I think I'm going to call bullshit on them too. Okay? We're independent, right? So we can pick and choose, and we can go on the issues, and we can look at it from a different perspective, right? We claim that, right? That we're more educated. No, I'm calling you bullshit too. You just decide to look at the narrative that's going out there and say, this year I'm going to lean this way. Next year I'm going to lean that way. No, and again, part of the problem is, back in the day, you could have a conversation with family members, your friends. It could be anybody. And it was okay to disagree. You could have a great conversation, maybe learn a thing or two from each other. Your ideas may change. It may be reinforced. Who knows? But you could have a conversation, an intellectual, educated conversation. And yeah, there was some passion in it. But that's what made having that discussion worthwhile. Today, you say one thing out of whack, and you're trying to assassinate someone's character. You're a racist. You're prejudiced. You're something under the sun. You're not allowed to have an opinion. You're allowed to be told your opinion, right? Depending on how you vote and what party you belong to, but you're not allowed to have your opinion. Because if your opinion was public, right? If your opinion was public, think about this. So, if you're in the middle and you're a Democrat, you're on the right side. You're a conservative. Now, if you're in the middle and you're conservative, so you lean left on little issues, you ain't conservative. You're a Democrat. Why not just be someone like myself who says, listen, I depends on the issue, truly on the issue, that there are some things that I truly am liberal on, and I fully mean that. There are some things I truly believe that it's up to the person and their situation and their beliefs, but I have this belief, this core belief, and I think most people do. And I think that's what most people get wrong about, like people from other countries and immigrants. I think we all have the same core belief, and I think we get away from that as a people, as a country, as a nation, that we have a core belief in family. We have a core belief in that we want safety. We want to have a core belief in opportunity. We want to have opportunity, not just for ourselves, but for our family members. They deserve it, right? So I think at the end of the day here, we've got to look at this and we've got to make some significant changes. This country's getting out of hand. Society's getting out of hand. Everything we're done has just blew up and gone crazy. You look at the movies and you look at different times and eras and how they're portrayed. The Greatest Generation and this, that, and the other thing, like movies like Saving Private Ryan and, Midway and all these different times with Greatest Generation, and where these people were just amazing people and did amazing things, right? And you had a sense of pride when you were watching these movies and people were going through horrific times and coming together, right? We don't have that today. Describe to me how we have that kind of national pride today. The closest thing we've come in probably the past, say, 20 years has been the fall of the towers. That's where I can probably tell you that I've seen the most, I want to say, public good. That we rallied around something, that something really bad happened to us that had never happened before at that level. And we all came together and wanted to help one another and do it. I mean, the only other time you can think of anything that comes even close is a natural disaster. Major hurricane where people start actually trying to help one another or do something or maybe donate or whatever have you. But There's nothing today that has given the national community that kind of pride. And you would have thought that this pandemic, of all things, this pandemic would have brought people together. That it wouldn't have separated us. It would have been like, damn, this is rough. People, there are food lines. Okay, the moratorium for landlords not being able to throw people out for lack of rent payments has ended. There's going to be a lot of heartache. And I don't see anyone trying to come together. I don't see anyone wanting to help one another. And that's sad. You know, it truly is sad. And I know I'm just talking from my heart and I'm just trying to put it out there and I'm laying out a lot of broad strokes. But I know you have to feel it too. I know you have to feel it too. Baseball doesn't make me feel better. I don't care what you want to say. Oh, sports has nothing to do with making me feel better. What's going on? You don't have anyone watching these games. Okay, things are just going crazy. No one really cares. And you know what? That's sad. But I really blame it on leadership in this country. And I don't care if they want to point fingers at one another. This is the one time. This is something that, you know, people say like love has no boundaries, love knows no color, love knows. You know what? A pandemic knows no age, no boundaries, no race, no creed, no religion, no nothing. And guess what? We're failing ourselves. We're failing our neighbors. We're failing our communities at a local, state, and national level. And guess what? If you're not willing to try, if you haven't tried, you're a scumbag. You're part of the problem. I know you don't like it, but it is what it is. And the sooner you deal with the truth and the fact that this is who you are, and you do it honestly, an honest self-assessment, guess what? The easier it is for you to change. That's just a fact of life. We've been saying it, we've been teaching it to our kids, we've been teaching it to everyone else. Hey man, you gotta acknowledge the problem before you can change it. Well, guess what? You're part of the problem. There's not enough people getting angry, getting out there and saying enough of this nonsense. That the far left, you know what? You're wrong. Far right, you're wrong. You know what, you idiots in Washington? Since when do you get to take a recess during a pandemic? All these people unemployed, all these people without food, all this, and you get to go on vacation. You're a public servant during a national crisis. Actually, a world crisis, but let's look at it from a national level. And guess what? No outrage. No outrage. I don't see anything in the media. Except, oh, it's this person's fault and that person's fault. No. We should be forcing them back to the chambers, locking them in, and I don't care. You don't get to take a piss. You don't get to take a shit. You don't get to do anything until you guys get to talk to each other and actually talk. That's what I'd be doing. But that's just me. Because guess what? I'm that scumbag. But at least I can admit it. So let's move on. I want to get into a little bit of gaming here. So the last time we had a conversation, I told you that I was a little disappointed in Warzone with everything that's going on with the hackers and what have you. And Season 5 had opened up, and I really wasn't looking forward to it, nor was I looking forward to trying it. Well, I did. I've been playing it a little. Hacking still sucks. I think what they've added was pretty cool. I mean, it's not like overall, oh my god, amazing, but it's nice to see some changes, some consistent changes, though I'd like to see some consistent corrections, right? So I'm a guy who not only likes making podcasts and videos and what have you, but I like watching them. So obviously with me making and watching videos, one of the things, you know, when the game comes out is I want to see other people's opinion. I want to see how other people play. I want to better myself so that when I'm talking to people that I can turn around and say, okay, well, this is the information. This is where I got the information. This is where I saw the information, right? So Modern Warfare had a glitch. And if you picked up certain guns at certain times or whatever the hell it was, it pixelated. If you're on PC, it pixelated. Now, most of your big gamers are on a PC, whether they use a controller or they're using mouse and keyboard. they're using a PC, and I started using a PC, and I can tell you, it absolutely sucks. So, you can't see through the pixelation. And then you have these content creators specifically just for gaming, and they can't make content. So I have nothing to watch. The game kind of sucks at the state that it's in, between the hacking and the glitches and whatnot have you. It just sucks. It's time to look forward to other games, man. Ashes of Creation's coming out here hopefully soon. I want to see that. They're trying to push the next COD game, but you know what? You give me such a bad taste in my mouth with this one. I don't even know if I want to look forward to the next one. Why am I going to waste my time and money? If you can't get this done right, why the hell would I want to do that done? And play that. Stop wasting my time. Stop wasting my money. It's bad enough when you waste one, but you got to waste both here? $1 billion company. I don't care if it's a pandemic. Okay, you're all working on computers. Maybe you're not within the same location, but you're all working off computers, people. It's called Microsoft Teams. It's called servers. It's called, whatever. But you can do this. Maybe it takes a little longer, but at the rate you guys do it, shit. It'll be 2022 by the time you get anything done here. Get off your asses. Do something for that money. People putting big money into this. You guys are screwing over a lot of people. That's all I got to say about that. Other than that, still love Escape from Tarkov. Loving the crap out of that. And like I said, went back to the Star Wars Old Republic. Actually, you know what? I like that pace of that game. Just to take a break from Warzone. It's just night and day. Just get stuff done. Pretend to be a Sith or a Jedi or whatever have you. And just have some fun. Listen. It's Star Wars. Even if you don't know and you're not a Star Wars geek, you know something about it, and it can be fun. Just try it. Get away. Find a different game. If you've got some game recommendations, you can always definitely send them to me at opinion.opportunity@gmail.com. That's my contact email address. You can also find me on Twitter, opinion or opportunity there. By all means, please reach out. So, yeah. Send me some game suggestions. Don't send me sports games though. I'm not gonna sit there and play sports games all day. Don't send me that nonsense. I have no problem playing storyline based games. You can send me those. Other BRs, that's fine. But don't send me sports games. And the other game I'm looking forward to is seeing what's going to happen with Anthem 2.0. I got to be honest. I really liked flying around for Iron Man for a while. I really did enjoy that. Well, so those are my opinions for the week of the nonsense. But the tech stuff, get my microphone there. The tech stuff. So when I built my PC, I said, it's all about performance. I don't want nothing that looks too pretty or blah, 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 blah. Well, I have to admit, I went out and put some G-Skill Trident Z RAM in there, the RGB series. And I'm still rocking the 32 gigs of RAM and running at the 3600 DDR4. And let me tell you something, man, this thing, it flies and it looks so good. Truly. It's like a night show, disco show, depending on how you want to do your RGBs. I'm telling you, I change it up all the time. But that's the change I made to the PC. If you guys have any other suggestions, I talked about my build in episode 1. Listen to the end of that one. And this is what I did to change it up. I did add one more thing because I was using up so much space already. Yeah, it was. That I actually added some Intel XMP 2.0 desktop memory. I put another terabyte in that thing, man. Yeah, 2.0. And I'll tell you, man, this PC's made a world of difference on so many levels. If you guys have any questions on doing PC builds, my boy out there in Harker Heights, Texas, who owns Extreme Systems, Greg, you want to reach out to him. I walked in there, had all these fancy dreams and things I wanted to do, and I walked in and he destroyed them. Truly, he destroyed them. But when I walked out, I was really, really happy with what I got. And it was actually way under budget for what I proposed to him. So if you're in a situation where you're looking for an upgrade or maybe your first PC, I would definitely, if you're in Central Texas area or what not have you, or you can drive to Central Texas, reach out to Extreme Systems and Harker Heights and ask for Greg. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to wrap it up today. Just trying to get this show going. By all means, please know if you like the way I talk, if you like the way I handle things, please share it, spread the word. Let's get it going. Again, my name is Don Gringo. I'm your host. You can always reach out to me again, opinion.opportunity@gmail.com, or on my Twitter page at opinion or opportunity. So I look forward to hearing from you.